Cheers! How you do, Buckaroos? How the heck are you? I am Done Beer Whisperer. I just got the fireplace going. Yeah, Tom, really. That's my TV, man. But yeah, I'm trying to set a mood. This is our actual Christmas tree, though. Yeah, just the wife and I. We went simple. We went a little Christmas tree and a littler Christmas tree. Keeping it simple and rustic, because that's kind of the folks that we are. I have a 2017 Mother's MILF Imperial Stout. I know, politically incorrect. They no longer call her that. She is materfamilias now, but the beer has changed a little bit over the years, just like the name. It is still an 11% barrel-aged Imperial Stout. That much hasn't changed, but the barrels have evolved over the years, as the name has as well. I've got a few of these. The Last of the MILF and some materfamilias vintages I want to get out to a couple friends, but I wanted to send the 2017, but I opened one of these last weekend and it had gone belly up, and it was my fault because I kind of forgot I left them in a metal cabinet. It wasn't subjected to light, but some temp changed, and so I got them into the beer fridge once I realized they were in there, but it was too late. I opened up a couple of them. I opened up one last weekend, and I opened up one just a few minutes ago, and they had both gone bad. But I had one that actually got left in my regular fridge, so I wanted to check it. Again, I was afraid to send it because I just didn't know. But this one did live, and it did evolve. I will tell you, though, when I poured it, the carbonation dissipated almost immediately, but I did take a sip to see, and it seemed to be okay. So I'm going to try to drink her with you. This is a 2017 vintage, so I'm going to set that down there. Show it to you here. I decided to pair it, not with some whiskey, but with some Irish cream, Connolly's, mint chocolate. This came in a 3-bottle set last year. So this is over a year old, mind you. Came with two other bottles, a regular Irish cream and a creme brulee, which was awesome. This is the mint chocolate. The only reason this one didn't get drank, in all honesty, is, again, it kind of got forgotten about. The other two I finished off recently, within the last month. But I decided to have a little bit of this one with you in my Christmassy glass here. And I will talk about this beer some, but I kind of wanted to broach a topic as well, as I do in some of my videos. That's why I always call them At the Pub, and not a beer review per se. I will tell you the nose on this. So, big roasted malt notes. Let me see if I can set that down and read this. The letters seem to get smaller. I haven't had a new prescription in about 2 years. Well, actually, I'm not quite at 2 years. About May will be 2 years, but I am due for a new prescription. I try to make them last 2 years, even though, because, you know, money's tight, man. God Lord, that lettering is small. This particular one is aged in rum, sherry, bourbon, brandy, and whiskey barrels. Now, what they mean by whiskey, I'm not exactly sure, but maybe it's a blend of whiskey, maybe it's Canadian, who knows. So rum, sherry, bourbon, brandy, and whiskey. I do remember at the time, though, that I really felt those sherry notes in a big way. And right now, I really feel those barrel notes. Again, roasted malt is what I felt initially on the nose. Maybe hints of some dark fruit, raisin in particular, and certainly some very dark, almost baker's chocolate. Yeah, I think this one survived. I'm feeling a lot of the rum, actually. The rum and the brandy I'm feeling a lot of right away. This one stayed nice though. And the other ones, again, I'm certainly not blaming the brewery. No, the ones that went bad were my fault, because I initially I bought them in the wintertime, so I put them in the back of a cabinet, and I kind of forgot they were there. I moved some other stuff, but a couple of the bottles got pushed to the back, and I didn't see them. And it turned out to be a 4-pack of the 17 that got shoved back there, but unfortunately, I lost 3 out of 4, but I saved 1. So. Anyways, so the topic I wanted to get into, I've already been talking 4.5 minutes, is the so-called war on Christmas, the non-existent war on Christmas. There is no war on Christmas. There has never been a war on Christmas. It has only existed in the minds of very small-minded, weak-willed far right wing nuts, like, Kirk Cameron, for instance. He talks about the war on Christmas every year. This guy, what a buffoon. I mean, he makes Christians look bad. I mean, I consider myself a Christian, although I don't go to church every Sunday. I was getting pretty regular, though, up until 2020 hit, and then getting back in the habit since then. Again, since church was able to resume since 2020, I've honestly only been twice. Trying to keep it real with you. But I do believe, but I believe a little bit differently, right? I don't necessarily believe, I don't believe the Bible was written by the hand of God, as some of them like to tell you. It was written by man many years after. No, there are no first-hand accounts. This was all put together. There are some very nice stories. There are some lessons to be learned. But is it the Word of God? No, I don't believe so. And that's where I stand apart from certain folks. That's why I go to an Episcopal church, because although they don't necessarily agree with everything I believe, they are more open-minded. Especially in my neck of the woods, anyway, the particular church we go to, yes. They are very open, very welcoming, very inclusive, let's say. But there is no war on Christmas, folks. There's never been a war on Christmas. Well, we can't say Merry Christmas, Tom. We can't. People get offended. No, they don't. And you can. Nobody's ever stopped you from saying Merry Christmas. All anybody's ever said is that there is more than one holiday this time of year. That's it. And some choose to say Happy Holidays. There's no need for you to get your tiny little panties in a bunch, pull them out of your crack, and just relax. You got Christmas. You got Hanukkah. You got Kwanzaa, you got Festivus. There are others that I'm not remembering right now. There are a lot of holidays, man. So you shouldn't get offended if somebody says Happy Holidays to you. Should you walk around saying Happy Hanukkah to everybody, assuming everybody is Jewish? No, you shouldn't. There you go. Are you following where I'm going with that? Yeah, you shouldn't have to walk around saying Merry Christmas to everybody, assuming everybody's a Christian, because not everybody is. Not everybody has to believe the same way as you. That is religious freedom, my folks. It doesn't mean you're free to push your religion on everybody else. It means you're free to live your religion, but you're not free to push it on everybody else. We don't have to live by the same made-up rules that you choose to live by. Those folks that want to pick and choose what Bible verses mean something to them. They've been divorced 3 times, have had multiple affairs, but they somehow think being gay is a sin. But they're fine. It just doesn't make sense, does it? There is no war on Christmas. Quit listening to idiots like Kirk Cameron. That dude's a fucking moron. He was a one-trick pony, and he's decided to make a living bilking Christians. He could no longer make money as an actor, so instead he's bilking Christians out of a bunch with this made-up war on Christmas that has never existed. Yes, you heard it from me. I think Kirk Cameron is an absolute fucking moron. Anyway, cheers to you. Anyway, there is no war on Christmas, folks. There has never been one. Nobody's stopping you from saying Merry Christmas. Just trying to make you aware that there may be more than one holiday that exists this time of year, and it's not all about you. So quit being a narcissistic, egocentric piece of shit and start being a decent human being and embrace that there are other cultures out there other than your own. Anyway, cheers to you. On a happier note, I just get tired of hearing it every year, man. Well, Tom, they won't allow me to say Merry Christmas. Nobody's stopping you from saying Merry Christmas. People are just pointing out that maybe, maybe you could open your mind to the fact that there is more than one holiday this time of year. You ignorant asswipe. Anyway, cheers. On that note, Tom, are you worried about offending people? No, I don't care. I mean, it doesn't. Everybody seems to get offended by everything these days. Of course, folks on the right want to make you believe it's the folks on the left getting offended. But quite frankly, I found the direct opposite. The right seems to be offended by everything. Unless it's exactly the way they believe it to be, anything contrary to that is going to offend them. It's that cognitive dissonance. They don't have the ability to accept another point of view. They don't have the ability to look at facts and change their mind. Boy, this one did turn out well, though. I've had some 2018. I've saved a couple to send to some friends, but 2018 has aged impeccably well, and I wish hadn't forgot those. I remember at the time taking one and putting it away here in the house, and then the other three were in the back. But when I moved the stuff over at the end of winter last year, I kind of forgot about some bottles, and here we go. Well, actually, that might not even be true. These might have been some that have been packed from move to move when we moved out of our house way back when, and then to another place, and then here. We've now been here about 4 years, but I think the three that went belly up were some that had been packed away that kind of got forgot about. But again, I want to make clear that it's not the fault of mothers. The stuff that I've aged properly for mothers has all aged incredibly well. So the ones that did, it certainly wasn't the fault of mothers. It wasn't bottled incorrectly. It wasn't brewed incorrectly. It was me for not storing it correctly. I want to make that good and clear. Got just a little left here. I'm going to pour into the glass here and finish that with you. Couldn't get it all in the glass because it's a little glass, man. It's a little glass, just a little bitty glass anyway. Anyway. Just a little bitty glass, man. I know it's probably a 10-ounce glass. I want to take a drink of this Irish cream here. Mint chocolate specifically. Let me show you the box. Connolly's is the brand. I'm sure it's an off-brand. My wife bought it out of Aldi's. Yeah, what are you going to do? But like I said, I mean, it had the regular Irish cream, which tasted just like a Bailey's, being an off-brand or not. It was every bit as good. And there was also a creme brulee that was, whew. I actually used that creme brulee a lot in coffee, and it made a brilliant coffee creamer. Yeah, it did. So to recap, you know, I will say in all honesty, it seems like the feedback seems to be less and less every year. But there still are those out there that's, you know, you see on your various social media want to claim that there's a war on Christmas, there's a war on Christians. No, there isn't. There are other people just decide to live a different way. I've known folks that refer to themselves as atheists that have been more moral than many Christians that I've known over the years. So I think there's just a lot of Christians that seem to believe that saying they're a Christian means that they don't have to live by the same rules as everybody else does. That they can somehow be constant asswipes all year long, but they're Christians, so that makes them better. Living where I live, I deal with a lot of that. In very red Southwest Missouri, we have some big Assemblies of God and neck of the woods, which in my opinion, Assemblies of God is a cult, man. They encourage you to only vote for who they tell you to vote. They tell you exactly who to vote for, and tell you if you don't do exactly what they say that you shouldn't belong to their church. They encourage you to only do business with other members of the church. I mean, it's a networking cult is what it is. It's a networking cult for rich people, because almost every rich person in town goes to an Assemblies of God church, because that's where the networking happens, man. If they're not technically a cult, well, they're very cult adjacent. That's why I won't go to one. I won't say I've never gone to one. That's how I know what I know, because I have been. But no. And I rarely associate with those who do go to those churches, because I know what their belief system is. But they seem to think they're the chosen ones, and everybody else, you know, is going to hell in a handbasket. Quite frankly, if it's those Assemblies of God folks that are going to heaven, I'd just assume try my luck somewhere else, because I don't want to live eternity with those jackasses. I don't want to spend the rest of my life with those assholes. Anyway, having said that, I am Tom the Beer Whisperer, beer for Angelos, beer drinker, purveyor wisdom, man. All around good guy. Cheers.